Okay, hello and welcome to the Arts and Wellness Café. I am so glad you could join me today. How have you been? How have you been? Think about it. Do you know what? The theme for this week is relaxed, and on Monday I shared with you on creating in faith and the idea behind approaching your creativity, not only approaching your creativity in a relaxed way, but finding aspects of your creativity that you can bring into your day-to-day so that it kind of seamlessly runs with what you do throughout the day. And what I mean is find find activities that you can do that doesn't necessarily require a lot of supplies or time. So it might just be a 10-minute thing, and slot that in, say, you know, you have your morning activity or your morning routine, whatever it is you do. If you do not find time for creativity in the morning, so that might be an opportune thing to do. Or, you know, you could spend some time reflecting, and that's one of the things I did this morning. On my, I think it was on my Instagram, I posted, it was just a minute of an activity working in your art journal, and I'm not sure whether I've got the art journal here, but I literally just decided to add colour to the page. But go to my Instagram if you're not already linked to me on Instagram and check it out. So it was literally cover the page with Inktense pencils or whatever your favourite art supply is, and then just spend time activating it. And then by the time you finished, you've created, depending on how much more you do to your backgrounds, but you've started the process of creating a background paper or page. And then you can go in and add, you know, texture. So you could use stencils, you could use modelling paste, you could use gesso, and it's really a way, and I've said it on the recording on Monday, this creative toolkit that you carry around with you. So when you are stuck in a line, you've got either a book to read, or you can make some notes, or you can check, you know, something that is related to your creative activity. So if you can't necessarily pull out the paints in a queue, you can, I don't know, go on your phone and look at Pinterest and look at some ideas, or think about some ideas that you could possibly work on. Or, you know, if you've got access to a chair, you might be able to do some writing, make some notes. And this is a great way, it's a great way of, and it's not a substitute for, but it's a great way of being able to complete the things you want, even when you think you don't have time. There's time in the time of the time that you spend, if that makes sense. But there is time throughout the day to do something, and even if it is you just take 5 minutes, it could be that I was talking about these water brushes, and the water brushes is just, you know, it's a brush with a container, it holds water. So you could take a pencil or a graphite, water soluble graphite, and you could be there doodling while you're waiting, whatever you're waiting for, and use the brush, and there's no mess, there's no, like, you know, I've got to dip it into whatever. So sorry, sip of tea. I do drink water as well. I've still got my water here, but water or herbal tea, so I'm usually drinking both at the same time. Yeah, so you've got these activities that you can do. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is what your normal routine is. And when you think about this normal routine, you know, from the time you wake up, from the time you open your eyes, what do you do? Now, you can leave out the showering and all of that kind of stuff, because that's a given, or we're making it a given. But what are the things that you do? So I know pretty much from week to week what I'm going to be working on, and as I say, when there's longer term projects going on or things that have come up that I need to address, I look at the days and see how I can fit it in. So I want you to think about what that routine is that you do and break it. So, you know, just for one day even, I mean, yes, you do have, you know, your general routine. So to break it, one of the things that I did was I did the garden bit, and I came back and went and made myself a cup of tea, and then I sat. So behind me is a wall, and then on the other side of the wall is my front room. The chair is pointing towards the garden, so I just sat there and I just was still. I'm drinking my tea and I'm just listening, and I want you to try it. Just even try it now, yeah? Just listen for the sounds. Yeah, you got me in the background, but listen to what you can hear. What are the sounds you can hear? Now, being in the Caribbean, we're lucky to, you know, you can hear the birds. What else? There's a road, we're on like a side road which leads onto the main road. So you can hear some of the cars driving past. We are on the flight path. I mean, the airport is like 5 minutes down the road from us, but I'm surprised that you don't hear more planes. And obviously with the situation we're all, you know, dealing with, that there's going to be less air traffic, and you might hear, I think once a week you might hear something, but even in normal times you couldn't really hear a lot of the planes. I guess it depends from where the plane's coming from, but the runway still has to go literally that way. So listen to the sounds. And just take it in. So that's what I did this morning, and notice what you can see around you. You know, not necessarily in, you know, don't focus on, because what I did was I started to see what they call, I don't know, Christmas centipede. It's like this tiny thing, tiny centipede. It's not a centipede, millipede. I don't think these ones bite, but you see them quite a lot. And we're beginning to see them quite a lot around here. It used to be where we lived before. I used to see them a lot when I used to go for my walks. So after I started thinking about this centipede, then I noticed the fly, and then I was thinking, I'm going to get you. And then I had to pull myself back and again just listen. And then I started thinking of when I was in my final year. No, it was a year before my final year at uni. And at this time I'd had Sakani, so he was about 3-4 years old. And I remember it was our, you know, it was like the holiday break, we used to get like 3 months. And it was that feeling of, I remember walking down the road and the sun was shining, and it was that feeling of freedom, and I could hear the birds, and I just thought it would be so nice to be in a place where I could hear this all the time. So think about what your normal day-to-day routine is. I'm still got to do the other things that I've got to do, but I was able to put in there a moment of reflection, a moment of, you know, just relaxation in my morning routine. And I'll still find time because what I then replaced is my time spent in the studio, you know, doing some sort of like, you know, whatever it is I want, because I say to myself, okay, in this hour you can do anything you want in your studio. Yes, you've got particular tasks, but you can do anything you want. It's up to you. And so it might be playing with a new supply, or it might be playing with an old supply, or it might be just looking through supplies, sorting through supplies. So that was replaced this morning with reflection, and sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's useful, and it fits in with the word for the week, relaxed, because you have to find in your day-to-day some time where you can relax and just, it is about reflection, because we need to reflect, we need to kind of think about the things, the impact of the things that we do, the things that we do and the impact of the things that we do. So one of the things that I did this week as well was I was speaking to my sister, and we started talking about I'd seen this video, and basically the guy was talking about, and I can't even remember the name of the guy and his exact words, but basically he was saying that he was relating it to his parent who was elderly. And then I started thinking and looking at that, and I mean, my mum's 96, 97 this year, and she's in a nursing home, she's living with dementia, and I was thinking to myself, now, if mum, like when you think about how many potential years you have left, now if I see her once a year for a 2-3 week period, and say for instance, I mean, in their home they've had a few people pass with corona, so we're quite we're a little bit anxious because we're not allowed to visit, so you can only really have a 10-minute phone call where the nurse is holding the phone, and you know, you're trying to have a conversation with this person standing. Standing, because obviously they've got their work to do, but then they're now got to stand with holding the phone while you talk to your loved one. Anyway, so I thought to myself, you know, if, say for instance, mum had another 3 years, how many times would I see her? And it was just like thinking about the other things. So you think about how old you are now, and think about how old you would be in 10 years' time. So what I did was I mean, I've gone 30 years, so if I lived for another 30 years, and I just literally did a chart, and it's got the months down the side, it's got the years. So this first page is to 2030, and I've written down, you know, on the month where my birthday is, I've written down how old I would be. And I was thinking to myself, so, you know, we're coming to the end of the year now. What is it you want to achieve next year? You know, because when you think about this year, it's just been such a weird year that, you know, and so many things have happened. And how many of those things were things that you actually wanted to happen? How many things were planned for? How many things you could you say were an achievement? And I thought to myself, you know, it started to make me think about my time management and how I was using my time. Because when you're younger, and you know, for me, I know that when I was younger, there was so much time that I wasted. I would Waste a lot of time, basically. Thinking of that was then, this is now. But as you get older, I find that time's speeded up. So yes, we're in December, 1st of December, and you know, it's almost like time did pause in March at the second week for us, because we had our artist studio tours where we, you know, 30 artists open there, up to 30 artists I think. We all opened our studios and people were coming round, and then it was like, so that was the Saturday and Sunday, the 14th and 15th of March, and then if that's Saturday and Sunday, and then Corona. It was just like, oh my gosh. That's when we started hearing about it. And so it was almost like, well, for me, and I don't know how you feel, whether it was just like March, everything seemed to come to a standstill, April, and then it's just been like a blur. The months have been passing, but we're still kind of looking around incredulously at the things that have happening, and you know what's been said. And even today I went into it's like the mall, for those of you who are here, Sky Mall, and when we go into the mall now, it's got this thing that you have to stand in front of. You obviously have to wear your mask. You stand in front of it and it registers your temperature, and then there's a hand sanitizer. The only thing with that, it's not an automatic hand sanitizer. You press it down and it's just like, well, if we're all touching it, it kind of defeat the purpose. But wherever you go, so even though you sanitize your hands when you get in to the mall doors, it's on every door, you whenever you go into a shop, you still have to sanitize your hands. So you could go into that mall and have at least sanitize your hands about 10 times, depending on how many shops you go in. Yeah, so the point of that was that, so we walked into the mall and I had actually been sitting in the car. The sun was coming in on my side, so I was just, you know, lapping it up, you know, the sun, the feeling of the sun on my skin, and because I'm aware that I've been spending a lot more time in the studio or behind a computer, but I need to break it up as if I'm working for somebody and I value myself. But so it said, oh, elevated temperature. I think it was 37.6. So it was just like, oh yeah, it's because I've been sitting in the sun. So you wait a little bit, and it's all air conditioned, and usually, you know, when you try it again, it goes back to normal. But as I looked around, you know, there was, you know, lots of other people in the mall, and I looked, and like everybody's in their mask, and it was just, for that moment, it just seemed, wow, look at where we've come. Now, I've had these moments before, but it's again just, you know, when you, as an artist, for me, again, I'm in my studio, so I don't come into contact with loads of people. So it is just weird to see everybody, you know, and just see eyes, and people aren't necessarily making eye contact, or they're making eye contact but you're wondering if you know them. I think people more recognise me than I recognise other people, because it's just like, oh, I've got no idea who you are. Yeah, it was just weird. So that's one of the things I did, and so back to the idea of, you know, your mortality, and looking at what you're doing, looking at what you want to do now for, you know, given things are the way they are, what is it you want for the next 12 months? What is it you want for the next 5 years? So seeing the years actually written down and seeing how old I will be, I'm thinking, do you know what? I haven't got time to waste. I haven't got time to sit around and, you know, not navel gaze, but kind of be, you know, how off, and I can only describe it as that, like, there are periods of time where I feel off, you know, I just feel, you feel sorry for yourself basically, and it's just like you haven't got time to do that, because for one, you don't know how long you've got, so you have to make the most of each and every moment that you have. So it's really important that some of the things that I've been saying in terms of, you know, getting rest, nurturing, making sure that you spend time in your creative activity, identifying pockets of time. It's just like, these are all part of your, again, toolkit, which will help you get through and help you, and me, because I think I do, you know, for myself as well, because there are times I need to be reminded. It's just like, you know, you can't, why are you eating those things? And I'm not doing the, oh, because, you know, you have to enjoy what, you know, you can't give up these sorts of things because you've got to enjoy yourself. It's just like, if you know something is actually impairing your health, if you know eating certain things, then don't eat it. And I know it's not as easy as, because I've got a bar of chocolate, fruit and nut chocolate in the fridge, and I have chocolate about once a week. So it's not being like, you know, you have to work. You have to try and do what you can do, but you have to think about your health. If you have to think about, I was saying to my creative gardeners, I was saying, it doesn't matter what kind of space you've got. If you've got a pot, grow something. You've got to be growing something. You've got to, you know, at one point at our hardware store, all the seeds were gone. You've got to find a way of growing something yourself. For one, it will help you, you know, save money, basically. Save money, learn new skills, not be reliant on your, you know, corner shops and stuff like that. And yes, we have to support our corner shops and small businesses and things like that. But what if, you know, when we first had, you know, heard about the pandemic and there were shortages of, you know, different food types, and, you know, what you don't want is to then have to consume a lot of stuff with pesticides. And for a lot of us, we do, you know, I couldn't, back in the UK, I found certain organic shops, you know, shops that you would buy organic food in, quite expensive. Or even when those local supermarkets started doing it, the prices weren't that much lower. And so where you can do it yourself, then that's something that I recommend you do. So another thing that I was doing was looking at my computer's playing up, so I'm trying to clear some space on it, and I started finding all these videos that I'd taken on my phone of Sakani doing different things and singing and dancing, and from where he's come to now, it's just like really funny. Well, you know, not funny, oh my god, it's so funny. But it's nice to look back at those times. It's almost like as if it was, you know, yesterday. And then seeing Mum, you know, Mum was just like up for everything, you know. Show me the way to go home. I take a liquor drink of a 10 and stout, and it fly right through my head.
No matter where I go, over land and sea and shore, you will always hear me sing you the song. Show me the way to go home.
You are my sunshine.
Oh, my only sunshine. Oh, you make me happy. Yes. When skies are gray, you'll never know, dear, how much I love you.
So please don't
take my sunshine away.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
You must continue yourself now.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Okay, now it's your turn. Let me rum bum bum bum.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Woo!
Yeah, feeling hot, hot, hot.
Uh-huh.
Down here,
Yeah.
down
Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
Then you'll come up back.
Whoa.
Thank God I'm up.
I'm up. You know, a really good sense of humour, and she loved just taking part. This is so funny. So I was looking at old footage, and it then brought back, you know, obviously nice memories. I saw my brother, because my brother passed in 2013. And it's just amazing how time passes. My best friend passed 2011, and so I was watching videos of Robert and just hearing him talk, and it was just like really great. So it then reinforced, like, you know, so what are you doing with your time? What are the things that you said you want to do? Why are you holding it off? When are you going to do it? When are you going to find the time? Because according to this chart, at the moment, my 2021 is kind of filling up with things that are occurring. But I want to travel. I want to see my mum. I want to be able to go and spend time with my family. And, you know, there are other business things that I want to do and achieve, and exhibitions that I'd love to be able to not only go to but partake in, and work that I want to complete, and you know, so it's just like, well, you really have to start thinking about how you can fit these things in. And I know that saying, you know, in 5 years time, for many of us it's just like, wow, that's such a long time away, but it really isn't. You know, we're going to be 2021 in 31 days. 31 days? Was there 31 days in December? Yeah, 31 days, 1st of January. So you're going to hit the ground running and decide. You know, you don't have to have every single detail, but you need to loosely start thinking about, and now's a really, you know, you might as well start thinking about what it is you want going forward. So I'm also looking at just better time management and better just working basically, and looking at how, because I'm producing a lot of video content and different types of work, just really seeing how they all connect, because there are other things that I want to do, so I need to be able to slot other things in. I need to find the time for those things. So it's really looking at how I am managing my time. I'm also concerned about making sure that, you know, health-wise, that I'm looking after my health. I don't know about you, but I'm a comfort eater, so I've comfort eaten my way through the months, and my clothes are telling me that...
Sorry, you want to do what? You want to put me on? It's just like...
You ain't getting into this.
So I'm aware that I have put on some weight, and I really need to address that, and address it for myself, not for anybody else, but address it for myself, because again, I don't know about you, but when you're feeling unfit and unhealthy, then you're feeling all these pains. And when I look at, okay, next year I'm going to be how old? I can't afford to, I'm not that old, or young, but I can't afford to neglect my health, because there's so many things I still want to do. And so I need to make sure that the extra weight, since March, the extra weight, because the extra weight that I'm carrying, I need to get rid of that. And again, the way that I'm doing it is, I say to myself, you know, keep moving. And so exercise, basically, just moving, going upstairs. I've got stairs in here, and like, you know, you could say to yourself, oh no, I don't fancy going, I'll just leave it. And it's just like, no, get up and do that, or get up and go next door. Or, you know, when I'm doing the gardening, I could go the shortcut, or, okay, no, we're going to go the longer way round, and it's only a matter of 30 seconds longer or whatever. But that's one of the reasons why I do my walks around the garden. And so I'm not only getting healthy, I'm also checking on plants and seeing, okay, are there any potential pests that I need to be aware of, and step in there. So kind of multitasking in a way. But my health is important to me, because if I'm not feeling healthy, then that affects my mood, and then that affects the things that I want to then go on and do or not do, or that you don't feel motivated to do things. And so, as I say, because I want to change my, I want to add things to the routine that I have, all the things are necessary as far as I'm concerned, and so I want to add some more things. So it's okay, so how can I make some additional space? And that might be that when I'm a lot healthier, I don't need to sleep as much, and I've got more energy. I find that when I'm at my peak condition, I can survive on 5 to 6 hours, and I wake up raring to go. I don't feel tired. But if I'm unhealthy, then I'm feeling, your knees could feel, I'm beginning to feel a bit bone pain and things like that, and you just think, what is that? That isn't, and that's probably because you're carrying extra weight, and you really need to address those things which come with that. So I've been calling it my COVID weight, because before that I wasn't comfort eating, and I used to comfort eat, but I wasn't doing it as much. It was under control. But because this kind of just blindsided us all, oh my gosh, what's going on? That it was just like, even though I'm in my studio anyway, the idea that you had to be, under curfew, and, you couldn't go out and all of this kind of stuff, it was just like, what can I eat? Anyway, so let me see what else we've got to talk about. There's just one more thing that I wanted to tell you about, and I'm really excited now because they're all out now. All the courses. I'm teaching on 3 courses. That is just amazing. I'm so happy to be connected with the 3 courses, the 3 hosts. We've got Tamara Laporte from Willowin. We've got TR Smith, and we've got Natalie. TR Smith from the One Badass Art Journal Workshop. Because if I say the one badass workshop, it just sounds really odd, so I have to say badass workshop. Anyway, and then we've got Creative Jumpstart, which I shared yesterday, I shared on Monday. That's registration is open. I think registration opens. Is registration open? Does it? Anyway, you can click on my links. There's several links that in the video for my podcast listeners, I'm showing the images. You can go to my blog. I've shared it on my blog as well, and I'm leaving it in the description of both my podcast and the video here today. I'll leave it down below. But I'm really excited about the courses. They all start. Lifebook starts January. The Creative Jumpstart starts in January to February, so that's 45 days. Over 45 artists, and the Badass Workshop starts on the 1st of February, and it's all 2021 is going to be, for you, if you sign up, it's going to be a year of some amazing lessons by all the teachers, and you should pick up a lot of new techniques and add this to what you're doing. So the other thing that I'll be doing is just I'll be showing some sneak peeks this week of some of my lessons. So I've got 2 lessons on Lifebook, 1 lesson on the Badass Workshop, and the Creative Jumpstart I've got a lesson as well. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun time. It's going to be really great. And think about some of the things that for my Lifebookers, but for those who responded to the question about creative, critic. So the critic, a lot of people answered that question and, you know, talked about how they handle the critic, basically. And what I like to do in some of the videos that I do is address how you can do that. And so one of the things, as I started off by saying, was, you know, you've got this creative toolkit. Think about like a survival kit, creative survival kit, and think about some of the strategies that you can create for yourself so that you can sidestep it and say, okay, and that's one of the reasons why I say to myself in the morning, what do you want to do? You can do anything you want, you know, it doesn't matter. You've got an hour. Sometimes I have less, but what is it you want to try today? And I just allow myself to do that. And so I'm getting that out of the way. And then when I have to go, you know, for my work now, where if you're saying, like, I'm either creating imagery or creating courses or whatever it is, and your critic's saying, what do you think? What is it you're doing? So you can address all of those things. And again, nurturing yourself, finding your voice. So look back on a lot of the Arts and Wellness videos that I've already done and recordings, and even look at the Creating in Faith, because some of the words all of the words actually are really important for us to kind of absorb and digest, so that we can allow ourselves to be more, you know, focused on what it is we know we want to do, and not allow the critic or somebody else's negative comment to make us feel bad about ourselves. So let's wrap this up. Is your tea gone cold? Still drinkable. So yeah, think about some of the things that I talked about. Think about ways in which you can ensure you carve out some time to relax and reflect, and think about your usual routine that you're going to break. Think about maybe even doing a chart yourself and looking at, you know, the months, the years, and how old you'll be when your birthday falls, and how old you'll be, and think about some of the things that you'll do. I hope that you have a blessed week. I hope that you feel inspired, and, you know, join me here on YouTube again. Remember to hit the notification bell if you've not subscribed and done that. And I look forward to seeing you as well on my podcast, because, as I say, I do additional recordings on there. And yeah, look forward to seeing you soon. So take care for now, and stay blessed and be a blessing.